All right, Green Teamers, let's talk. There's been a ton of buzz around this one question. Is Peyton Pritchard ready to take over as a starting point guard for the Boston Celtics next season? Now, with Jason Tatum expected to miss a big chunk of the year and Jrue Holiday already shipped off to Portland, it's a fair and legit discussion to have. And honestly, it's starting to feel less like a question and more like a real possibility. Let's dig into it. Peyton Pritchard has been grinding in the shadows of bigger names for years now. He's never been the face of the franchise, but every time he's gotten a chance, he's delivered. Remember, this is a guy who during the stretch run of the regular season last year had a few games that made people sit up and say, wait, why isn't this guy getting more minutes? He's not just a shooter. He's not just a spark plug. He's shown flashes of being a legitimate floor general, someone who can initiate the offense, create for others, and knock down big shots when it counts. Let's rewind a little. Sure, the Celtics made the move to send Jrue Holiday to Portland in exchange for Anthony Simons. And right away, fans started speculating, is Simons going to be the new starting point guard? But the thing is, even though Simons can handle the rock and score in bunches, he's always profiled more as a combo guard. He's explosive, no doubt, but he's more comfortable playing off the ball, looking for his shot rather than running the offense. That opens the door wide open for a guy like Pritchard, who has more of that classic point guard mentality. Keeps the ball moving, spaces the floor, and makes smart decisions. And then there's the system. Pritchard isn't just some new guy trying to learn Joe Mazzulla's playbook. He's been here. He knows the culture, he knows the expectations, and more importantly, he knows how to play Celtics basketball. That continuity matters, especially when you're dealing with the kind of roster shakeup Boston's gone through. You lose a steady veteran like Holiday, and you're going to need someone who not only knows what to do, but also knows what not to do. The kind of player who's going to bring stability, not chaos, to the floor. It's also worth mentioning that Pritchard isn't just out there trying to prove a point. He's earned his spot. Last season, he shot over 40% from three on high volume and was one of the most efficient bench scorers in the entire league. He stepped up whenever the Celtics rested their stars. Remember that game against Washington, where the team was basically running out a G League roster and Peyton still dropped 35 and dished out 11 assists. That wasn't just a fluke. That was a guy showing what he can do when he's given the keys to the offense. And yeah, he's not going to be putting up 10 assists a night like some old school floor general, but that's not what this Celtics team needs right now. What they need is someone who can manage the offense, get everyone involved, and then hit shots when defenses sag off him. And that's exactly what Pritchard brings to the table. You also get the sense that Peyton knows this is his moment. He had that quote heading into the season where he talked about how this team would stay competitive, how guys would need to elevate their roles in Tatum's absence. He didn't call himself out by name, but come on, you could read between the lines. This is a guy who's been patient, who's waited for his turn, and now with the depth chart wide open, he's not going to let this chance slip away. And let's not forget the Celtics didn't just hang on to Pritchard because they needed bodies. They believe in him. Brad Stevens believes in him. Joe Mazzulla believes in him. There were trade rumors swirling around Peyton not too long ago. Remember when he was supposedly disgruntled, maybe wanting out for more minutes? That noise never really got loud, but you knew it was there in the background. Still, the team kept him, and now it's time to see what he can really do with a full runway. He's already 27 years old. He's not some raw prospect trying to find his way. He's a seasoned NBA guard who's been grinding behind the scenes for years. And now the runway is clear. It's time to take off. Now, what does this mean for the rest of the roster? Well, without Tatum, someone's going to have to take on a bigger scoring role. We know Jaylen Brown is going to get more touches, and Derek White is going to have to shoulder a lot of responsibility as well. But can you really ask Derek to do all the ball handling? That's not ideal. And it's definitely not Jaylen's game. He's a finisher, not an initiator. That leaves Peyton Pritchard with a massive opportunity and responsibility to be the glue guy in that backcourt. Look, Pritchard's not flashy. He's not going to make highlight reels every night, but what he brings is consistency, smart decision-making, and a fire that this team needs right now. He's one of those players who's just a straight-up competitor. Every time he's on the court, he plays like he's got something to prove. And in a season that's going to be full of ups and downs with Tatum rehabbing and the roster shifting. That kind of mindset is exactly what the Celtics need. Now, let's switch gears for a second. People keep asking about Jaylen Brown. Is he staying? Is he going to be moved? And the answer is yes, he's staying. Jaylen has been loyal to this franchise from day one. Even when his name was constantly being tossed into trade rumors, he never publicly made a fuss. He stayed focused, played his game, and helped deliver a championship. You don't trade away guys like that unless you're absolutely certain it makes you better. And in this case, Boston isn't going to find a better fit. He's a two-way wing in his prime, an all-NBA player, and he just won Finals MVP. You don't blow that up. Sure, carrying 2 Supermax contracts in Tatum and Brown isn't easy from a roster construction standpoint. But the reality is this league is dominated by elite wings, and the Celtics have 2 of them. You hold on to that as long as you can. Jaylen might not be perfect, but he's one of the best at his position. And that core of Brown, Tatum, White, Pritchard, and Sam Hauser, that's a group you can build around. Now the front court situation, that's where things start to get dicey. Al Horford might be on his way out, and the Celtics just don't have the money to go out and land a marquee big. They tried to bring Horford back, but that's proving to be a tough task. He might end up retired, or even worse for Celtics fans. He could be suiting up for another team like Golden State. In response, Brad Stevens made a couple of under-the-radar moves. He drafted Amari Williams in the 2nd round and picked up Luka Garza in free agency after Luke Cornett left. Now, are either of these guys starting caliber centers right now? Probably not, but their bodies and their bets, Garza especially, has shown he can score in bunches and rebound well, and the hope is that maybe, just maybe, he can evolve into a solid rotation piece in Boston's system. The thing is, you're not winning in today's NBA without solid big man depth, and as of right now, Boston's front court is thinner than ever. That's why there's speculation that Simons might be flipped again, possibly in a deal to bring back a more traditional big like Nikola Vucevic. Whether that happens or not is up in the air, but it's clear the Celtics are at least looking at ways to create some breathing room under the salary cap and get some real help in the paint. And that's the tricky part of all this. Boston doesn't have much flexibility left. They're basically tapped out financially. So if another trade is coming, it's not going to be some blockbuster deal that brings back a superstar. It's going to be about financial relief. Guys like Simons and Georges Niang are on expiring deals and could be moved if the right opportunity presents itself. Reports are already saying that Boston wants to keep Sam Hauser long term, and that makes sense. He's a knockdown shooter who fits perfectly in the Celtics system and just signed a 4-year extension. So don't expect any major changes involving the core group. And as a trade, it'll be on the fringes. Think bench pieces, salary swaps, or maybe a backup big. And listen, let's keep it real. Without Tatum and with a questionable front court, it's hard to see this team winning more than 45 games next season. That might seem harsh, but the Eastern Conference is still competitive, even if it's weaker than the West. Boston just doesn't have the size right now to match up with the best teams on the boards. They were already getting out-rebounded. When they had Tatum, now without him and with no clear answer at center, that weakness becomes a full-on problem. We'll see if any of these young guys like Josh Minott or Amari Williams can step up. But relying on minimum contract players to carry your front court is risky, very risky. The best case scenario is that the Celtics hover around the play-in and make a second-half push once Tatum returns and some of these new pieces settle in. But as of now, it's going to be an uphill battle. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are growing louder around the NBA, and the latest buzz has fans and insiders alike speculating. Could the Boston Celtics be eyeing a major front court addition in Walker Kessler? While nothing has been officially confirmed by the franchise, sources close to the situation hint that the Celtics are seriously considering a move to bring the Utah Jazz's rising star to Boston. The idea: fortify an already championship caliber roster with elite rim protection and rebounding, 2 areas where Kessler shines. Though the Celtics just lifted the Larry O'Brien Trophy and have a loaded lineup headlined by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, their front office isn't resting on its laurels. Rumor has it that Brad Stevens and company are exploring ways to make the team even more formidable. KESSLER, known for his defensive prowess and shot-blocking instincts, is reportedly high on their radar. At just 22 years old, the 7-footer has already established himself as one of the league's premier young big men. His presence in the paint could give Boston an edge in matchups against powerhouse teams in the East like Milwaukee and Philadelphia. Speculation intensified this week, following cryptic social media activity from several Celtics players, with some fans reading between the lines. Could they be welcoming KESSLER to the fold? Or is it just smoke without fire? Sources say that preliminary talks have taken place between the two franchises, though no deal is imminent. Still, the very possibility is enough to stir excitement and a bit of fear across the league. Adding KESSLER would likely require significant assets in return, possibly involving future draft picks or rotational players. But for a team in win-now mode, Boston may be willing to pay the price. With Al Horford aging and Kristaps Porzingis dealing with injury concerns, bringing in a durable and defensively dominant center like KESSLER could be a masterstroke. As the offseason unfolds, keep your eyes on Boston. The rumor mill is churning, and if the Celtics do pull the trigger, Walker Kessler could be the next piece of their dynasty puzzle. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.